My 23 female, boyfriend 24 male, didn't want to pay $200 to save my life. I was at a bar with my boyfriend and his friends a while ago. We all had a great time dancing on tables, singing and drinking. I remember feeling totally fine one second, and the next I got very unsteady and I lost connection with my body. I got confused and scared, but then just so calm. This is seconds here and there I remember. Most things that happened don't exist in my memory. I became unconscious, and according to my boyfriend, the few times I opened my eyes, they looked very scared. He was told to get a taxi and get me to the emergency room fast. He managed to get me into the taxi and started to drive. My boyfriend told me that during the drive, the driver told him that he would have to pay $200 extra if I threw up. Then my boyfriend said, no, stopped the driver and wanted to walk to the emergency room. I was still unconscious and he didn't know why or if my life was at risk. Luckily for him, the police was driving around and saw me laying on the ground. They asked him what's up and drove us to the emergency room with blue lights on and fast. They took it very seriously, and without them, my boyfriend would have been lucky to even get me to the emergency room. Turns out I got drugged that night. It got worse, as he forced me to walk with shaky legs from the emergency room the day after. A walk that should have been 20 minutes took me 2 hours. He even started talking about the fact that he could have been drugged too, and that maybe he even got a little drugged, even though he didn't feel weird at all that night. Then he started to talk about him paying the $40 taxi for the little drive and how much that was. Like he wanted me to pay him back or something. He constantly stated that it was $40 and how sick that was. It's the normal price around here. He looked up symptoms related to being drugged and found that long-term symptoms would mostly be trauma. The next weekend, I had to be with his friends again and some people I didn't know. They talked about that night and even made jokes a little around me being drugged. Not a lot, but I felt awful. He also ignored me once when I said someone was following me. He was never scared of letting me walk around in town that night, but if a female friend did it, then he would have had to follow her. He argues when I'm scared instead of making me feel better or protecting me. Other than that, he's a kind man that doesn't want to hurt people, but like, this cannot be normal. Is this a relationship worth it? I'm scared I'm overreacting, but keep in mind that most of this is told from his perspective as I don't remember that night. I forgot to say that I asked him what he would have done differently if this happened today, and paying the taxi was not on the list.
Let's talk about all the times I was cheated on in high school. Now I totally understand why my parents didn't want me dating until I was like 18 because these men are crazy and of course I never listened. But you know, I'm just a girl who wanted to be loved, so this all starts in like 3rd grade. I will not be counting any of the relationships that I had outside of high school. This is just when I met this particular boy. So this boy always got me in trouble. Up until my 8th grade year in middle school, he was always getting me in trouble for something. My parents literally hated this kid, but me and this kid dated my freshman year of high school. We were together literally for 6 months and we never kissed. I should have known it was a red flag when I was with him and he was telling people we were doing things that we weren't. We literally never even hung out outside of school. My parents never let me see him. I think I went to his baseball game once. When we were together, I always heard of people telling me that he would ask for other girls' pictures while he was dating me. But you know, little old me could not even comprehend that you could want someone else when you were in a relationship, you know? So I never believed anyone until one day this girl that used to go to my school literally showed me screenshots of him asking her. Like, he tries to deny it, but like, it's time stamped. I see when he asks, so we break up. You cheated on me, we're done. And unfortunately, that wasn't the worst thing that this kid did to me. That will come into play a little bit later because he moved to Florida and ended up dating the famous girl that he had on his home screen when we were literally together. We'll go back to that. Anyway, I am heartbroken. You know, my first relationship down the drain, he cheated on me. It's finally summer, so you know, I'm like, hot girl summer, I'm going into my sophomore year. I end up meeting this kid because I was camping and he was staying at the same campground as me. This kid was a red flag since the second I met him. I probably should have never talked to him. But again, I was young. Red flags looked green. So you know, we talk, we click, we date. This whole time I'm thinking he's 16 because I'm 16. That will come into play in a little bit. But anyway, we hit it off. We're dating now. So past the camping trip, we don't see each other much. My parents did not like him. I barely get to see him, so he like makes a joke about getting play. First of all, at that age, I don't get that out. So I'm like, well, haha, you don't get any because you're dating me and you haven't even seen me. Blatantly tells me to my face that he just like hooked up with a girl the day before. My boyfriend told me to my face he's been cheating on me with the girl that I thought he was best friends with. Like, what? This kid also did some other horrendous this stuff. He would literally tell me to kill myself like all the time. Honestly, I dodged a bullet. I'm glad I got out of that because he ended up dating a different girl, cheated on her with the same girl that he cheated on me with, and then got arrested basically for beating his girlfriend up. Like, what? Oh, and I found out after dating him for like 3-4 months that he was literally 14 the whole time. He was an 8th grader. I was dating an 8th grader. He didn't go to my school, so I had no idea, but like, what? So, you know, right after that relationship, what's healing? There's no such thing as healing in my mind. So I end up talking to this guy that hits me up. He goes to my school. I've heard of him before. I also probably shouldn't have talked to that kid the whole time we were together. Everyone was like, what are you doing, Kendall? I don't know. So me and this kid talked for like 4 months. We never were really dating until like the 5-month period. And so we were kind of together for like 6 months. Me and this kid talk, date, whatever you want to call it. It was so toxic. Like, I probably should have ended it way before I got blindsided. But basically, he has this ex that moved to Florida that he was with for like 2 years before me, and the whole entire time we were together, he would call her. They would say, I love you. Like, she sent me all the text messages, and basically they were still dating the whole time I was with this kid. Like, what? Can you imagine my mental state at this point? Just back to back to back getting cheated on. I was like, what is going on? Like, we would like FaceTime at night and stuff. He would always wait until so late to call me because he would say he was talking to his mom or his dad, or sometimes we would be on the phone and he'd randomly be like, oh, my dad's calling me. It's 2 in the morning. No, the whole time it was her. Like, what? So yeah, again, I did dodge a bullet because I'm pretty sure he just went to court for like drugs or something and couldn't even attend the rest of our school year. I don't even know if he graduated with us. Pretty sure he did, but all I know is he wasn't even allowed to be at school for the last like semester. Like, what was I doing? What was I doing being with someone like that? I don't know. I forgot to do my brows. Back on the first kid that basically ruined the entirety of high school for me, I think I'm just gonna do a whole separate story time on that one. This kid is awful. He's literally the epitome of an awful person. He was dating a famous chick who literally was so freaking pretty, cheated on her 3 times. 3 times. I've talked to this girl about his actions. Anyway, after all that, going into my junior year, I finally met my boyfriend, who honestly treats me so well, and it's so hard being in a good relationship after all that. Looking back now, it doesn't matter. Like, I look at it and I laugh, but psychologically, you do get burned by that. Like, my trust issues are so rooted deep. Like, it is bad. So when your parents tell you to wait to date, they are completely right, because when you finally find someone that it should work with, it makes it so much harder to actually work because your brain is messed up from all the other guys. But yes, unfortunately, the only things close to serious relationships I ended up getting cheated on. So fun times. High school is so fun. Boys suck. I definitely have a lot of other crazy stories because these men didn't just cheat on me. They were literally psychotic and crazy. But now that I'm in a healthy relationship, it just doesn't even matter. Like, it doesn't even mean anything. I don't even think about it. So there's no point. Yeah, psycho. So I gotta go. Just know that anything that happens to you, you will get over it at some point. It's funny to laugh at now, but
I have nearly been kidnapped 4 times in my life. Not once, not twice, but 4 fucking times. And I am going to tell you about them today. Maybe it's for educational purposes, and maybe it's for entertainment purposes. Take it how you will. I guess this is also a trigger warning, just in case you don't want to hear about it. The first time this happened, I was only 8 years old, and it happened in a range. The shop, the range, I have never stepped foot in that shop since. I've been to others, but I've only been like 3 or 4 times. I'm scared for my life. I think it was the end of year 4, and me and my mum had gone to the range to get my teacher at the end of year 4 like a thank you gift, going down different aisles, and I was like, I want her to have a pen, not just an ordinary pen. It was one of them spiky multicolored pens, had like all the spikes coming off. You got them as earrings as well, but I was like, my teacher has to have one of these pens. Now my mum always kept an eye on me and noticed some strange man was following me down each aisle, but he wasn't going down the aisle with me. He was waiting at the end of each aisle and peering round to check when I would be alone. But obviously my mum clocked very early and was by my side. In true Grace style, I wandered off. Thought, fuck this. I didn't realise what was going on at the time, so I wandered off and I was like, I need to find these pens. Shortly afterwards, I found the pens. I would like to apologise to my mum because I can't imagine the fear embedded in her when you know a strange man is following your child around a shop and your child wanders off. The audacity. Sorry, Mom, I'm fine now. But like I said, I found the pens. And as I'm looking at the pens, I'm like, oh my God, this one's so cute. This one is unreal. I turn to my left and I see this strange man staring at me, looking at me up and down with long blonde hair, starts walking towards me, and all of a sudden someone grabs my arm on my right, and I turn and it's my mum, and she is run, fucking running out of the range. And you know, who could have happened if my mum didn't find me on time? Yeah, that was the first occasion. The second time I nearly got kidnapped, I was out with my friends playing on bikes. I actually lived in a relatively safe area at this point. It was a very rural, villagey area. Like, it was a lot of fields and greenery. I had just started high school, so I believe I was like 11, 12. I said we were playing out on our bikes, and my mum always told me never to leave the like cul-de-sac estate that we lived on. She said never go outside of the estate, and if you do, let me know and where you're going. Did I let her know? No, I didn't. I thought I was an independent queen at 12 and thought I was indestructible. I learned that very quickly, that that's not the right thing to do. Up the road from where I lived, there was like a bridge that you could see over the motorway. So like going to the top and looking at the lorries and, you know, and they would beat back at us and we were like, oh my God, adrenaline rush. So like to add is that I was never good at riding a bike. I would normally just push the bike because I was terrible at riding a bike. So we get to the top of the bridge and we're obviously honking at the lorry drivers, laughing and giggling, finding it ever so funny, until a silver Skoda parks up right next to us. At this point, we're at two different ends of the bridge. My friend is on the left side and I am on the right side. The car pulls up. This guy comes out of the passenger seat in an all grey tracksuit, comes around the car, runs after me. I'm obviously not very good at riding a bike, so the sheer panic that runs through my body, I am very lucky to find that there is an alleyway literally right next to where I am. My bike has no brakes, can we bear in mind? All I hear is my friend saying, go, fucking go. And I hop on the bike and I leg it down this hill, because this alleyway is like a steep hill. It's not like just a regular alleyway that's like straight. It goes downhill. Me and my friend have split up at this point. She's gone straight over the bridge and it loops around to our estate. I'm flying down the alleyway. There's a lamppost at the end, which I go straight into. I dump the bike and I fucking run for my life. And I know this man is still behind me running and I am panicking. Kate in the car has gone straight for my friend. She's getting chased by the car. I'm getting chased by the man. Oh my God, the scaredness I felt. I honestly thought I was gonna shit my pants. Alleyway that I went down looped round to the estate next to us, pounded on the first door that I could find, which ironically was one of our other friends that lived near us. So we were just like all like friends around the estate, banging on their door in absolute hysterics, saying there is a man after me and my friend is getting chased by a car. They let me in, obviously locked all the doors for precaution. 5 minutes later, we get another pound at the door and it's her with her bike. And I was like, yes, girl, we made it out alive. And then our other friend that let us in, his parents said you should really call your parents and let them know what's happened. I fucking panicked because I didn't want to get in trouble. Now, this sounds really bad, but I was so scared about getting in trouble because I went outside of the estate that I thought I was going to get in so much trouble. So I didn't tell my mum. They said, you have to. I pretended. I got my little BlackBerry out. 24 hours later, it's all like died down a little bit. Obviously, me and my friend are still in a hell of a lot of shock. I got home, pretended nothing had happened. Till the next day, my friend came to my door and she said, Grace, you need to tell your mum because the police are coming. The police are coming. I had about 5 minutes to tell my mum the whole entire story of what happened. Our friend that obviously we went to their house, his parents had told the police, obviously as they would, because two little girls getting chased by men is quite scary. I went up to my mum in absolute hysterics, telling her that yesterday 2 men in a car tried taking us and yeah, now the police are coming. She then cried because she then panicked that something bad could have happened to me, and she wasn't even mad at me, so I don't know why I panicked in the first place. And then literally as soon as I told her, the police were at my door. The police came and basically they just asked me to retell the story and to describe the men. I could only describe the man in the tracksuit that ran after me. I know that the man that was driving the car was like a middle-aged man in his like 50s. And then they asked us for the number plate of the car. I didn't even remember the whole of the number plate. All I still remember to this day was that there was an A and a J in the number plate, and that was it. That's all we could give. And then they said they'll work on things and let us know. A month or two later, the police actually get back to us and said there's nothing that we can do about this case. Now we're closing it. What the fuck? 2 12-year-olds nearly got nicked? What do you mean? That concludes the first and the second time Now on to the third. On to the third time where I nearly got kidnapped. This happened last year. It happened while I was on my way back from the gym. It was about 4 o'clock, so it was still daylight, so I believe it was like mid to the end of summer. As I was walking home, I noticed that this car kept slowing down behind me, and I thought, that's a bit weird, maybe I'll pick up the pace. So I started walking a bit quicker, but then as I was walking quicker, the car was then going quicker, but like backing behind me every time I turned to have a look. Obviously, again, in these situations, you do go into fight or flight mode. So I literally just picked up the phone and tried calling anyone, and most people are at work. So I called everyone that I knew. I tried to call. Did anyone pick up? No. So I panicked, and so I put a little jog on, and I thought, fuck, I'm so close to home at this point. I don't need this person knowing where I live. And as I'm walking quicker, I see that like basically where my road is, there's like little other like roads that lead onto the main road, if you know what I mean. So every time I got to another point of the road which had like another road going off it, the car was just waiting there. And so I would have to walk back and then divert down another road because I didn't want them knowing where I was going. And I tell you, it literally took me 30 minutes to try and divert them to go down different roads because I kept switching down other little like lanes and stuff that you could go down. I literally get to the end my drive is about to pull up to, and they're literally behind me, so I fucking leg it to my front door. Luckily, I have a Ring doorbell. Within 0.2 seconds, as I walk into my door and close the door, they pull up in my driveway, and I fucking shit my pants. Like, they saw my door closed, so they obviously knew which door I was in. But as I get inside, it's already like 5 o'clock, so I knew my sister would have finished work by then. So I call my sister straight away. As soon as I get in, I locked all the doors. I'm on the phone to her, and I said, there are 2 men that have been following me walking back from the gym, and they're now outside the house. What the fuck? What the fuck do I do? I didn't know what to do because I was by myself. I just felt very, very vulnerable, and we were just on the phone, and she just said to hide. We're both looking at the Ring doorbell. We're looking at the Ring doorbell. The car parks down a little alleyway that is down where my house is, and some guy comes to my front door holding a brown paper bag, pretending to have a food delivery, banging on my door multiple times. Obviously, I'm not answering, but they obviously know that I'm in, and they're banging up my door for about 10-15 minutes and do not leave. So we call the police. Obviously, the wise thing to do is that if you're nearly being kidnapped, call the police. By the time I've got through to the police and answered all their questions, they've already left. Police turn up and they said, do you have the footage? I said, yes, luckily I have the footage. Look on the Ring doorbell, I showed them everything. You can see the man, you can see the car, but you can't see the fucking number plate. Number plates hate me, clearly, because you can't see it. And they said, therefore, we can't do anything. Great. So I've been followed, chased home. I had to divert numerous times. They know where I live. And now you can't do anything because we've got the footage on the Ring camera. Because you don't have the actual number plate, you haven't done anything. And then the last and final time was also last year at the end of summer. I was walking back from the gym. I have to walk through the town centre of where I live to get home. I'm walking through the town centre and I realised that there is this boy, I'm going to call him because he didn't look no older than 18, 19, following me all the way through the town centre. He was wearing an all blue Nike Tech tracksuit, fucking loser. And I thought, this fucking weirdo keeps following me, what's his fucking problem? Obviously, because I'm a bit more vocal with how I feel nowadays, for about 10 minutes straight, this man is still fucking following me. So every other minute, I'm literally just looking over my shoulder. I can still see him, and I'm like, stop fucking following me. Obviously picking up the pace at this point because I know I have to walk down an alley to get home. There is no cameras down my alley, so I don't know whether I was going to get kidnapped or something worse was going to happen to me. Or just something bad was going to happen to me. I was feeling in my stomach when I know something bad is going to happen. So I then start to panic because I know I'm getting closer to this alleyway. I actually think I need to ask someone for help. In my mind, I'm thinking, find a mum with children, because maybe that's probably the safest option. Did I do that? No. I stopped the first person that I saw, which was a man in a van. Obviously, the guy is actually still behind me at this point. I'm just fucking panicking, so I can still see him. I literally just stop this man and say, stop, stop. Sorry, that guy right there has literally followed me all the way through town, and I need to walk down that alleyway, and I can't because I'm scared that something bad is going to happen to me. Do you mind taking me home because I only live down the road? He obviously said, of course, get in the car and I'll take you home. Like, just to let you know, you're safe. My name is Steve. I'll take you home. I said, thank you so much, Steve. I'm so scared. I was like, have I made the right decision in getting in this van? I did. Steve took me home very safely, bless him. He made sure I was okay. Luckily, my dad only lives 2 minutes down the road from me, so I literally ran to his house to tell him everything that had happened, and I was scared. And I just needed some home comfort, so I stayed at my parents' for the night out of sheer panic. And my dad was like, why didn't you call the police? I said, Dad, every time this has happened to me, the police have done nothing. And he said, fair enough. As long as you're safe and you're with us, you're fine. So really, my life has been so eventful and fun. This is just a pledge for women just to be so vigilant when you're out and about. Like, just be aware of your surroundings. We shouldn't have to do this. Is the thing. We shouldn't have to be aware of our surroundings and who is around us and making sure that men aren't following us. But it's just to be safe, so that you always have someone to call. And if they don't call, then obviously call the police. I know they don't fucking do anything. Call someone and don't flag down a man in a van for help. But he saved me. So thanks, Steve. Love you.
I bullied myself anonymously in middle school until I got exposed. So for context, I was already being bullied in middle school for being gay and closeted, and everyone would come up to me and be like, aren't you gay? And I'd be like, no. This is the era of like Kick, Omegle, Ask FM. So if you guys remember what Ask FM was, it was basically like you had this profile with your name on it and people could anonymously go ask you questions and be like, who was your best friends? But people could also just like write a comment being like, you're a fat, ugly cow. And so, you know, it started out pretty innocent. We would all just go onto each other's pages and be like, who's your best friends? Like, hoping to hear ourselves. But soon I came up with a horrible, mischievous plan. In my head, I'm like, let's go do a little loyalty test. So I would go to my friends' pages and comment things like, Dean is gay. Why are you friends with him? He's so annoying. And see what they would say. Obviously, my friends would just be like, you're a horrible person, whoever you are, get off our page, he's not gay. Meanwhile, I'm like closeted, like, oh, they're such nice friends. But this quickly turns into an addiction because I'm starting to get so much attention at school of people being like, oh my God, Dean, we're so sorry you're being bullied. Some of my bullies even stopped bullying me because they feel bad. I should have just left with my process while I was up, but it's literally anti-bullying prevention week in the middle school. We're having like a huge assembly. And so I think midway through, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go onto my page and comment something like, you have no friends and you're insecure and you're gay and a loser. I go and comment this. My friend sees in the middle of the assembly and raises her hand and says, Dean is being anonymously bullied on Ask FM. Other people are literally joining in to be like, yeah, he's getting like anonymously bullied. They end the assembly early to take me down to the office to speak to me. When we get down there, I'm like basically just like showing them everything, being like, yeah, I don't know who this person is. They're like, this is so awful. They start conducting like an investigation, questioning other students. Really give them a list of witch hunt names of kids who had bullied me so that they're gonna question them and check through their phones and other things. Everything is going like literally absolutely perfect. I'm not being bullied anymore. I'm literally popular at school. The kids that were bullying me are now like talking to me, until I decide on my birthday to comment something, you think you can get rid of me? Think again. One of the popular kids is like, I'm kind of like good at computers and my brother's older than me and he's in college. We might be able to figure out who commented this. When I tell you guys I genuinely started hysterically crying on the spot, I mean it. I literally mean it. I literally decide to confess on the spot that it was me. When I tell you it literally looks like a slow-mo scene out of a movie of a kid running away from all the bullies, that was me. They started chasing me and I literally ran to the office. I literally basically sprint directly into the principal with the kids following behind me while they're screaming, Principal Kensington, it was Dean, he posted them. The principal's looking at me like, not only did I get in-school suspension for over a week, the school mandated that I had to go see a therapist twice a week in order to stay in the school district. I was bullied aggressively by even the people who had been defending me and had never said anything bad about me. And literally the only reason why everyone stopped bullying me is because we found out that this other girl in 7th grade got literally pregnant from our 7th grade health teacher.
I'm a 10th grade literature teacher, which means that I'm around 16-year-olds all the time. And I'm freshly 23, so like most of the time I know what they're saying. Like I know the lingo, I know what's going on, but sometimes I don't know what they're talking about, okay? Like I'm just lost and it's their world and I'm just living in it, okay? Like in one ear out the other, don't know what they're saying. I'm also a certified yapper. So my kids have known since the beginning of the semester that my car, I had a 2014 Chevy Cruze. If you know, you know. Oh my God. Random leaks, overheating, like everything that could go wrong with it was going wrong with it all of the time. My kids knew about it. I would always complain about it. They were turning 16. I was like, under no circumstances should you ever get a 2014 Chevy Cruze. Don't get 2014, like, do not get a 2014 Chevy Cruze. I cannot stress that enough. Don't get that car for your first car. Please don't. Please don't. So they knew all about that. And then 2 weekends ago, I had to get a rental car to go to Statesboro. And I was like, yo, I got to get a new car. And I think I'm going to get a Kia. Because my papa has a Kia. And I know he's going to want me to get a Kia. So I'm going to get a Kia. And my kids kept being like, oh, Kia boys. Watch out for the Kia boys. You going to be a Kia boy? Like, again, in one ear out the other. Don't know who the Kia boys are. Don't know who they are. But at this point, every class peer has mentioned the Kia boys to me. And I'm like, what you talking about? Like, Kia boys don't get you. Kia boys, Kia boys, Kia boys. I'm like, okay, whatever. So finally, I did. Last weekend, I went car shopping. My first big girl purchase of my entire life. I got a 2024 Kia Seltos in that thing. So obviously, the first thing I'm thinking, I'm like, I cannot wait to share this with my kids. Like, they're going to be so proud of me. They're going to be so happy for me. And I'm so excited. So on our daily agenda slide, the very first bullet point was new car, who dis? Okay? Yes, I'm cringy. Yes, I'm cringy, whatever. I was so excited. So my kids come in, they're like, what's that bullet point? Like, what's new car it is? So I stand up on the chair, as I do when I'm trying to get all their attention. And I'm like, okay, I'm hyping it up. And I'm like, so I went to the Kia lot, and one of the kids was like, Kia, show me your key mold. Oh, that's weird. Why are you asking me that? And I was like, what? You better try to steal my car? He was like, no reason. And I was like, I ain't showing you my key mold. And it's push to start. He was like, oh, even better. All you gotta do is be in range. I can take off in that thing. What? What are you talking about? So I'm like, whatever. So then next class, one of my kids goes, oh, can I see the key? What are y'all talking about? What? Are y'all trying to steal my car? Are y'all trying to steal my Kia? Are y'all trying to steal my Kia for real? But then like Kia boys. So I'm like, oh, let me get on Google. My Google is TikTok. So I'm like, TikTok. What are Kia boys? I look at Kia boys. Why I see all these little boys stealing Kias? Huh? I was like, oh no. My kids have been saying Kia boys to me for the past 2 weeks, and I didn't know Kia. I just thought it was a bunch of boys that drove Kias, and I ain't even kidding. I thought it was about to be a Kia girl. No, I swear to God, I thought it was about to be a Kia girl. Kia boys are little boys that steal Kias. Okay, well, I was like, well, good thing I ain't got no key in here. And, oh my God. No. So then they had me stressing out. I'm trying to figure out, okay, if somebody does steal my car, what am I going to do? I'm watching people on TikTok who used to steal cars for a living tell me how to protect my car. I'm like, y'all got me worried. What? Because what are y'all talking about? Do you really want to hit a lick on Miss Reese? Like, are we being so for real right now? So yeah, that's my yap session for today.
One is, am I the astronaut for kicking my father-in-law out of the house? I-31 female kicked my father-in-law out of my house this weekend, and he said I was overreacting and he did nothing wrong. My father-in-law is a very difficult man. A little background, he has been divorced 2 times and alienated his entire family except his only son, my husband. He is very much, it's my way or the highway, and he is always right, classic narcissist, and will tell you to your face that you're wrong. He's also very into politics, and if you don't agree with him, he will argue with you until you give in. Oh, love being around these kinds of people, said no one ever. He is very hard to have a conversation with because it's usually always about politics and it's very unpleasant. I swear this is why he isn't married or gets past more than 1 date with a woman. He truly has no friends or family who will try with him anymore except us. We barely can handle more than 1 day around him. I really do try on behalf of my husband to get along and be nice to his dad. He really appreciates it because he knows how difficult he can be. A little over a month ago, we found out we were pregnant for the first time. We have been doing fertility treatments, and the 3rd round finally worked. Wow, 3 rounds. Unfortunately, about a week after we found out that my HCG levels became abnormal, and it was likely that we would miscarry. My appointment for early ultrasound happened to fall on the same day my husband was supposed to take my father-in-law for a medical procedure. My husband, of course, wanted to go and be with me in case it was bad news. He called his dad and told him he couldn't take him anymore because we had an appointment and would more than likely miscarry our baby. My father-in-law was livid. He said he had no one else to take him. His own fault, I feel, for running everyone in his life off, and can't believe that I would inconvenience him this way. Why can't I move my appointment to another day? His appointment was booked first. I couldn't believe he would say that to us. My possible miscarriage was an inconvenience to him. I was an inconvenience. I was already upset with our news, and this made it 10 times worse. My husband tried to work it out that he had to go with me to my appointment and then drive over an hour to take his dad, which I didn't want anyway in case it was bad news. His dad refused and angrily said he would try to reschedule. Our appointment comes, and we did have a miscarriage. I was so thankful my husband was there with me. He told his dad, and all his dad said was he got his appointment rescheduled. I had never been so angry with someone that I was with his dad. He was extremely hurtful to me in one of the worst times of my life. Fast forward to now, a few weeks later, I see my father-in-law for the first time since everything happened. He never apologizes and doesn't say anything to me about what happened. He was his usual jerk self all weekend. He even said a few comments about babies and kids for us. I kept my distance and didn't talk or say much to him and ignored the comments. He finally calls me out and wonders why I'm so quiet this weekend. I was being a little rude, apparently. I just simply said I was still upset over my miscarriage. He said he didn't know why because it wasn't that big of a deal. I wasn't the one who had to move appointments for it. I lost it and yelled at him about how much his comments hurt me, and I was sorry I inconvenienced him, but he can get out of my house. He tried to argue that I was being unreasonable and rude, but my husband agreed with me and told his dad how hurtful he was to us, and he needed to leave. I felt bad because his dad will probably hold a grudge and stop talking to my husband. I know I'm emotional and hurting, and maybe I overreacted, but I don't think I did. Super overthinker over here. Help me put my mind at ease that I'm not the asshole here.